Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It is episode 724. That's right, 724. I am here with the talented and beautiful Stephanie Russell. Thank you for being a guest on my show for a second time. It's a real honor, privilege having you, and I just want to say thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show again.
No, absolutely. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them and can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. That being said, for everyone who wants to know who the talented and beautiful Stephanie Russell is, you can see our very first episode that we did. It was back in season 5, episode 479. So let's say it's 7, so 7, 6, for about 3 years ago, give or take. That's when you were on my show last. And if you remember, when we did our episode last time, it was via Skype. And I had to decorate the back, thank God for virtual backgrounds because, it's really nice not to decorate in my brother's bed. But at the same time, I have all this stuff now. What the hell am I supposed to do with it? I guess I can sell it or something. But that being said, you are an upcoming professional actress. And so we're going to ask you the easy questions. We've got to reflect on the first episode. But the first thing I want to ask you is how you been for about 3 years. Let's just say 3 years. It's a good number.
Sure. Yeah, no, I've been good. Just still doing the hustle, trying to get the gigs and stuff like that. I luckily have generated a really nice network of people that I have worked with in the past. And so I don't have to run about doing too many auditions anymore. Now a lot of projects are coming to me, which is really, really nice. It's a nice change. I have started working for a company where I sell weddings right now. So that's what I do as my full-time gig. And then hopefully one day the acting gig will take over and then I won't have to sell weddings anymore. Although I do kind of love it, actually. It's really fun to be part of people's big days.
No, absolutely. Hey, it's better than working in retail or working in an office from 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the other question I want to talk to you about is I want to change it up a little bit.
Sure.
I want to start I'm going to push on you, and I'm going to ask you hard questions. So I want you to push back. You can ask me anything you want. I have nothing to hide. But the biggest thing is, what pisses you off?
What? Oh my gosh. I feel like that's a volcano of things. I think really what, if there's an overall arching thing, I think it's really just people not, minding their business, when people are like LGBTQ, if that's their lifestyle, I don't understand why anybody has to get in on it. If we're talking about Black Lives Matter, I don't understand why we need to have police brutality, which has created this entirely insane and impressive movement of people having to fight for their ability to be free for who they are. So I just don't feel like in this day and age that we should ever be having to fight for who we are anymore. We should just be able to exist and feel confident in all of our skins, regardless of color, ethnicity, gender identification, cultural heritage. I think it's time for us to evolve as a species beyond our basic animal instinct and move towards really just accepting that we are all humans and we all deserve the same rights to life and to the freedom of life to be able to move forward and make our lives better.
No, I agree with you. For an example, you know, I don't really get political, but we can talk about whatever you want. It's
Right.
whatever. For me, I'm going on the record. The Keith Andrew Network supports Joe Biden. And the reason I say Joe Biden is one, it's better than the cancer we have now. It's time to get rid of that, number one. And number two, if you look at it for everything I stand for, with people with disabilities, Joe Biden does fall into the category of someone who has not a learning disability, but a speech disability.
Right.
So for me, if I say, well, I'm going to vote for Trump, and people are like, well, if you vote for Trump, but you're not supporting your fellow person with disabilities. And then if I say, well, I'm going to support someone with disabilities, and they're like, oh, you're not voting for Trump because it's with Obama. It's like, oh, you're voting for Obama because he's black. Or and if you vote for the opposite one, oh, you're not voting for him because he's black. It always has to be a one-sided affair. You can't have it both ways. But yes, I do stand for people with disabilities. Joe Biden has a speech disability. He has a stutter. Therefore, for my message, we're showing people with disabilities. That's what I stand for.
Yeah, I
And,
think I tend to agree with you as well. I think the current administration really lacks the ability to move the United States forward in a positive direction, both economically and truthfully and ethically, on a lot of different areas. And it's really sad to see that, because obviously we're your closest neighbors, because I reside in Canada. So we're your closest neighbors. We are heavily impacted both economically and culturally by the events that happen down south, and it's sometimes very trying to watch the news and see what is happening in your wonderful country, and to some of the most wonderful people I've ever had the opportunity to work with, to play with, to visit, to learn about your country, and it's so opposite to all the experiences that I have had when I've traveled to the US. And I come home and you see on the news, which the media does spin things to create a little bit of drama. However, there are some things that they just don't have the power or the money to be able to create. And so they really are observing national trends and the youth of today who are doing their best to really move your country forward. And I wish them all the strength and the support that they could possibly get to make a huge difference in the next few years for your country, because I think it's going to be pivotal for your country to make some major changes, and for the youth of your country to be very active in making these changes happen.
Absolutely. And on a personal note, I was actually thinking about getting a Canadian ship. And if off the air, I would love to talk to you about that. If a lot of people say I'm not qualified because I have a disability and all that. So we can always say if that's true or not. But
I'm not really sure about too much about the immigration, but if you have family members over here, like if one of your parents is Canadian, then it makes it a little bit easier for you to transition over. Also, if you find a job here, that I think that's also an easy way to get in on like a work visa, which is what would be equivalent to what you guys have, the work visa. I'm not really sure what it's called here, because I'm Canadian and I didn't have to look into that. So I have to plead a little bit of ignorance here in the fact that I've never immigrated to my own country.
Well, we can always talk about it off the air.
Yeah, sure.
Now, the next question, and while we're on the subject anyway, it does, that November, they said last election, it's going to be really important. But I really think this election, the shit's really going to hit the fan, because Trump said he absolutely refuses, if he loses, to leave the White House. So the Army's got to get involved and drag him out by a stupid toupee. And if Joe wins, it doesn't matter what side have Trump wins, or the shit's gonna hit the fan, or Joe wins, because Trump has stirred up so much hysteria in this country that unfortunately there's got to be blood in the street. Something it's really going to happen, and it's not going to be good, and it's all Trump's fault.
Well, I sincerely pray that that is not the case, and that your democracy is protected. I mean, that is what Alexander Hamilton's, that great show that was released, and it's like seen a resurgence again once Disney Plus released it, all about like 20-year-olds making the difference. And there is a very real threat that your country could be moving into an authoritarian governance if this gentleman does wind up staying in power. And I mean, like, he's idolized people like Putin and Kim Jong-il and authoritarian governments. And so it's really interesting to me that there is even a sect in the United States that supports that, since you guys are based on freedoms, and authoritarian government does not support the idea of freedom in the United States. And please take this with a grain of salt. I am Canadian, like I said earlier. I am coming in from an outsider's view. I don't have all the intricacies of what is happening in your state, but I have seen a real threat to your freedoms, and I hope that the youth of today will overcome some of the basicness that Trump has drawn out in some of the population, and that you guys will continue to move forward in a democratic society, a Republican for which many young people fought and died for. Many people have sacrificed, and this whole idea of the American dream can be supported still, and that cannot be supported when you have an authoritarian government.
I agree with you 100%. And the real question is, everyone needs to be on guard, for that election day. I really want the cancer out of the office. I want to. A lot of people say, "Make America great again," and I want to say something about that. America was never great. It was decent. It was tolerable. It wasn't this great, wonderful place, because you can't sleep, okay? You can't sleep 200 years under the carpet. Every single country, even Canada for that matter, has a dark history.
Absolutely.
You can't go anywhere in the world, Canada, US, Germany, especially Germany, England, everyone has a dark history, and what we have to do is overcome that and be better people. Unfortunately, we're going backwards instead of forwards.
Yeah. I think the backwards is like the easy way, right? That's a way that it speaks to the very basic animal instinct in us to be judgmental, to be violent towards one another, to try to control things. It's not enlightened in any way. It's just very basic human behavior. And what I think you are hoping for, and as well as me, is that people are just going to override those animal instincts and claim to be what we are, which is supposed to be like a species that is using our brains and our integrity and to take care of one another and to take care of the planet in ways that we have not done in the past. And not that we want to diminish the experience of the people who lived through those really negative experiences, but to continue to move forward, all of us together in obviously an idealized state. But what are dreams if not a little bit of idealization, right?
No, absolutely. And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know you said you wanted to talk about anything, and
yeah,
if there's anything else you would like to talk about, you're more than welcome. If you want to continue the conversation, you're more, whatever you want to do.
I'm okay with that. I think we've said some pretty positive things here. I'm glad we're both sitting on like a positive side. And yeah, so if there's other questions you have, let's keep going.
No, absolutely. I do have one more question for you, and I find this to be the nail in the, and after I say this, we're going to take a commercial break. I find this to be the nail in the coffin for this doofus in office. How can you refer to men and women giving up their lives, serving in the army, and veterans for that matter, call them suckers and losers?
I have had to step back a little bit from the media surrounding your president. I don't know where those words came from or what the context is in regards to them, but I really hope that he was not silly enough to say those words, because that's very derogatory and diminishing. And I mean, it just reinforces the
stupidity.
Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, I was trying to be a little bit more polite with the choice words there, but yeah, your president is not very supportive of a very large portion of the population in the United States. And I think that is a shame, because I can't even say from my experience with all of my interviews and friends and people who live in the United States, he is not representative of any of those people. And I'm really surprised that there's even a faction that would allow him to represent them. Just because he is a millionaire, billionaire, whatever he is, and was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, does not make him a great human being.
And everyone knows,
evil, right?
No, absolutely. And everyone knows he's bought and paid for by the Russians and the Chinese. Hell, yeah. I mean, there's stories of people who stay in his buildings and offices and were mostly Russians.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's probably got ties. I mean, I haven't followed it up or anything like that, and it is all just hypotheticals until you have like the actual documentation for it, and I haven't researched it. I just keep hoping for the best, that the Americans will just use your power to vote and go out and put in a person that is representative of you. I always say, like, a great leader is somebody that you would feel confident leaving your weakest members of society with. So if I was a parent, then I would leave my kids with them. They would babysit my kids, and I know my kids would be safe. Or if it was my elderly grandmother, I left her with him, you know, like, then she would be safe. She would be cared for. That is a true leader, somebody who really is able to acknowledge everybody and see them for their strengths and support them in any way that they possibly can, not diminish everybody because you think that being number one is the most important thing in the world. Like, that does not make you a great leader. And in fact, that is a dangerous precedent to set.
I agree with you 100%. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And with the last 8 minutes left, we're coming back. I'm going to pass it over to you, and you can ask me and talk about anything you like when we come back.
Hi, guys. My name is Kat Johnston.
This is Donna Drake.
This is Kayleen.
Hi, my name is Kara Svucek.
I'm Julia Brothers.
Jenna Curtis.
Hey, I'm Jenny Fahn.
Hi, it's Mimi Chin.
Hi, my name is Ella Dorsch.
My name is Shauna Toft.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Actress Becky Hayes.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hey there, I'm Saki Mieta.
Hi guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for a very special episode. And here is Stephanie Russell. It is episode 724. Now, with the remaining time, I'm going to do a very special episode because I really like you. I'm going to give you 20 extra minutes. This is your time to promote. Ask me anything you want. I have no cards up my sleeve, so I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, I guess I've got a couple of projects that are currently on the go that I would like to talk about. Over the COVID shutdown, just before the COVID shutdown, I was in rehearsal for a show called Seagram's Folly, The Final Clue. And of course, because of the pandemic, we were unable to perform the show in front of a live audience. But our wonderful director, Stephen Youngs, he he had this brilliant idea to make lemonade out of lemons, and decided that he was going to, instead of putting on a show in front of a live audience, he was going to take all of our hard work. He invested in a film crew and arranged for us to come in, and while we were socially distanced and using all precautions that he possibly could to make sure that everybody was safe, he actually filmed the production. And so Seagram's Folly, The Final Clue, will be airing to the public as of September 27th, all the way until January 3rd of 2021. And so it was amazing to be supported by a director who decided that he recognized all the hard work we had already put into the show, all of the investment that went with it, and he took that and he's made this incredible show that we get to show to everybody right now. So I'll just give you some details on it. So it is running from September 27th, so beginning on September 27th. You can currently buy tickets at ticketscene.ca/series/841/ or just go online, type in Crossroad Productions, Seagram's Folly, The Final Clue. It'll be taken to any number of ways that you can get to this show. You can find it on Facebook. I believe there is definitely some Twitter action happening there. So feel free to follow on Crossroad Productions. And hopefully we'll see you live while we're all watching together online. So
No, absolutely.
yeah, it's a really good historical Canadian murder mystery show, which is very fun to learn a little bit. Stephen is really detailed in his research that he does for the backgrounds, for the characters, and for the props, and the people that he brings in. Our wardrobe artist, Eni Billings, is insane. She was so good. I'm really looking forward to sharing all that hard work to the general public. I'm still working with the Ontario Pirate Festival. So they did a really cool captain's keg this year, because unfortunately our juggler Jay was kidnapped by a T-Rex, and so we couldn't all get together. So Kelly McGrady and Andy put together this amazing captain's keg where a few artists came out and they entertained with live music, and some pirates were out there, and it was a rainy day and they trucked right through it like good pirates. And it was really awesome to watch. So if you're in Ontario next year, likely on the August long weekend, hopefully we'll all be getting together again live to do that again. So keep your eye out for that. I'll send you personally, Keith, if you can just throw links and stuff down at the end of this. I'll send you some links to all of these things that I'm involved in, so that people have an easy access to just click and go. And then finally, my partner, who currently is an American residing in California, has started his own Twitch channel where if you're not informed about what Twitch is basically like a YouTube channel. It is predominantly game players, so video game, computer game players who will live stream the games that they're playing. He's created this very cool community called Pirates Paradise, and his name is the Captain J. And sorry, I'm just trying to get some of his information up as well. So he's on Twitter as the Captain J. So it's THEE Captain, like Captain, and Jay. And so you can follow him on Twitch. He's got a lot of great talent that are following him right now, and then they actually get to play games with him. So it's really cool to interact and watch these people have some fun together. And they're from all over the United States and Canada, and it's really cool to see this community developing where people can touch base and have some common interests and just laugh and chit chat. And feel free to come in, just watch, subscribe, give him a follow, and hopefully maybe you will sign up and become a subscriber, and maybe you'll get to play with them as well.
No, absolutely. It's funny to mention all these things. I was actually thinking about, someone's like, I don't know what to find the words for it. I want to be on Fox News, CNN, and all these different networks. And someone said to me, maybe one day the Keith Andrew Network will be its network on its own. And I was like, all right, that's very interesting. And then I'm like, I like wrestling. As we started the episode, we talked about politics.
Yeah.
And, the cancer in the White House. Why not? I've been trying with the idea, if you're interested, maybe we can create our own show and we can find something that we can talk about so we can cover the bases in Keith Andrew Network, because Keith Andrew Network's globalized. I interviewed people in Canada, I interviewed people in England, Germany, all over the place in different states. But I actually think if we did a show together, everyone in Canada will get more familiar with my work, and people in the States will get more familiar with your work if you're interested in that idea.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fun idea. Yeah, let's pitch some ideas later on, and we'll definitely see what we can come up with.
No, absolutely. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about or promote?
Right now, I have so many artist friends that are really doing a lot of incredible stuff. I have Chris Kerba, who's a great musician, who's in several bands, one of them being Eclectic Revival, who I feel very passionate and very attached to these chaps because I kind of grew up with them. And he's touring with a band called the Tartan Terrors, and they do a lot of American tours. So if you want to check them out, please feel free to follow them. I worked on a podcast with a very dear friend of mine named Tom Argel. So we did a series of podcasts called Your Mom's a Podcast. And it's kind of diminished in the last little while. He's been fairly busy writing a novel, which I'm currently in the process of reading, and hopefully he's going to get that out. And he's been working on a screenplay for that. So we'll hopefully be looking for some producers to pitch that to in the very near future, because that's a really funny script, and he's a dear challenge of a comedian there. And he's also working on a musical right now, which will be hilarious when it is done as well. And he's working on that with a lady who lives in Peterborough, Ontario. So that is crossing cities and stuff like that, which is really cool. Who else is there? Who else can we pitch out here? We have... There's so many people. Katie Brisky is a friend of mine as well, and I've done a couple of readings for her for some of her podcasts, and she's an up-and-coming award-winning author, and she does some really, really incredible ethereal works, and so I really love to see her up-and-coming. I'm wearing this shirt for Tegan and Sarah, who are one of my favorite bands out there. And they have like a great foundation called the Tegan and Sarah Foundation, which supports LGBTQ plus youth in their endeavors to move forward in a safe manner and to really explore who they are and find out what talents that they have to offer the world community. So definitely check them out. I think they've got a really cool, a really very cool contest going on right now, where if you support the foundation, you get entered into a draw to win one of their most iconic guitars out there. So I don't mind actually happily pitching to them and getting to say, hi, Tegan and Sarah, I'm promoting you guys. And I'm your biggest fan. I'm not your biggest fan. I'm a really strong fan. I'm not sketchy. I'm not going to stalk you or anything like that. I'm not that kind of fan, but do love your work and your music, and happy to help support by pitching that out, and to definitely pitch for as many friends and people that I support out there as I possibly can. And I'm sorry if I missed you. Feel free to like nudge me by Twitter or like in my texts and just let me know, hey, you forgot me, and maybe I'll get back on with Keith another day and we'll just do a whole pitch fest of like really, really cool Canadian artists.
Pass them my way. I would love to have them on the show.
Sure. Yeah, so what else can we talk about? What have you been up to? Like, you've got over 700 episodes right now. So who are some of the most iconic people you've gotten to interview? Like, that's really, really cool.
I have actually recently got Kansas Michelle on the show. I'm in the works of trying to get Trish Stratus on the show.
Cool.
I'm trying to get Angelina Love. I am trying to get mostly the professional wrestlers.
Cool.
I'm actually talking to Michael Landsberg from Off the Record.
Yes.
And we were talking about doing a part 2 this Saturday. Actually, you remind me. Thank you for that. This Saturday at 2 o'clock on the Keith Andrew Network, it's a special episode of the Keith Andrew Network where it's a ECW reunion. Because I actually interviewed Raven, Justin Credible, Big Ragme, and a couple other great ones. And I'm like, you know what? How about I interview all you at the same time and we can turn it into an ECW reunion?
Right.
A year ago, it came up with it, and I was like, oh, we have to work on his schedule. So, you know what? Something about 700, I want to make it special. So we're going to have an ECW professional wrestling reunion. Then I was thinking about, you know what? I also interviewed a couple people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So I might actually do that for next month. And then I'm like, well, I interviewed a couple of WWE, TNA wrestlers. So I'm working on a couple of events. I was actually thinking about doing a high school reunion. But the more I was thinking about it, the more I was getting physically sick. Because I didn't really have the best high school experience. And my mom's like...
any of us really had the best high school experience. Some of us had really good experiences, but the best experience, I think that always happens when you're out of high school and you're like, you got a little bit more freedom.
My mom said to me, stay away from that because you're going to make a big mistake. And I was thinking about it. No, she's wrong. And yet I'm sitting here looking at my freshman year, looking at my sophomore year. I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to relive any of that.
No.
So I scratched that one off. But, wrestling, I almost said Pokemon, but
I do have a really good friend that I think that you would love to meet. His name is Peter Howe. He's an author, a Canadian author, and he is really into to wrestling himself. So I'd love to connect you two in the very near future so you guys can have some conversations about wrestling and maybe bring him on the show so he can talk about his writing. And I think you guys would have a really good time, actually.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up our interview segment, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn?
So I try to keep my Facebook really with my personal friends and family. I'll put together hopefully in the near future, my more professional one. Yeah, you for sure. I'll have a more professional one set aside in the near future. It's busy wedding season right now, so I'm kind of behind on the marketing, but that'll be clearing up hopefully in November so that I can focus a little bit more on that. So there is a timetable. We're getting organized again. What else? I am on Instagram at She Who Performs. I kind of let Instagram drop a little bit because I had hundreds of photos on there and somehow it got erased and it was just really disheartening. And I never really picked up putting any more photos on there again. And I am on Snapchat, probably She Who Performs as well. I'm not as active on social media as I possibly should be, just because I tend to be a bit of an introverted person, I don't really want everybody knowing exactly what's going on in all aspects of my life, just having had some experiences in the past where it's just not always friendly fire that's coming at you. As much as I love the idea of having thousands and thousands of followers and stuff who are, I can't even imagine being like Kim Kardashian or any of the Jenners. Like, I just can't imagine the craziness of that. Like, everybody is constantly always judging every move you make. Like, that's a pretty hefty responsibility to carry on your shoulders. And I don't really envy them, but I want to make art, and I want people to see the art, and I want them to be moved and touched by some of the things that I do. I want them to laugh and cry, but I don't want them to laugh and cry because it's like things that I'm doing in my life. Like, I want to tell a story. And so as much as social media is really great for getting your name and stuff out there, it's also it can be a dark place. And so to protect myself and some of my family and friends, I kind of minimize how much I've got out there. And hopefully I'll just be able to maybe put some professional ones together. Again, probably in like November time. I'll rearrange some of the marketing towards moving forward, and we'll see how that goes. Just with my personal stuff, I try and keep that personal. It's a boundary, it's a safety thing, and the marketing for the projects that I do is mostly what I do. I like to promote the projects that I'm involved in, or promote projects that a lot of my great friends are involved in. So that's mostly where things sit.
Oh, absolutely. Now, like I said, I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Yeah.
My very last one I want to add to, when I approached you, and I want you to be brutally honest, when I approached you for a second time to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? What made you say yes? And how would you compare this interview to our very first one?
Well, I think I didn't hesitate to jump to do a second interview or anything like that. It was quite nice the first time. We did run really long, but I guess we had a lot to talk about, so that's what happens. And we're not like confined by commercials and stuff as we are on television, so that was easy going. Yeah, what was different? Yeah, I think we're a little bit shorter. We're a little bit more concise this time, and and that's all there really is.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 3 down the road.